It is now officially just 2 weeks until the launch of the PlayStation 5 Pro, and it feels like this is still such a controversial system, just in general, because people are talking about the graphical boosts not being enough, the price tag being too big, and just in general, people seem to be split either whether this is an actual upgrade or just a fancy luxury item. Now, personally, I'm still not completely sold on the Pro. I mean, it just seems cool, but I'm not sure it's actually worth it. So I'm probably going to review it because I do like reviewing Sony tech. But today I wanted to talk about a technical breakdown that's stirring up some PlayStation 5 Pro drama that I think kind of paints a picture for the future of PlayStation games. Let's get into it. Hi, hope you're having a great day. And if you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. So what stirred up a lot of this drama is this morning, Alan Wake's developers talked about the PlayStation 5 Pro patch, what's going to be for the Pro when people start getting it if you have Alan Wake 2, and people noticed that we're getting a quality mode and a performance mode, and quality mode is 30 FPS. Now, a lot of people in the replies are instantly saying, how the heck are we still getting games at 30 FPS? I mean, I thought the point of the Pro was to eliminate 30 FPS games. Or people saying, okay, wasn't the points of the PlayStation 5 Pro, a lot of the talks from Mark Cerny, the trailers and stuff, were that they would no longer be dividing game modes. Instead of picking between frame rate and graphics, now you get frame rates and graphics. And essentially, we're now learning that isn't necessarily a cut and dry case. Developers are still free to choose to make stuff however they want. In this case, Remedy wanted to make this ray tracing mode, and apparently it's just not possible for them to put ray tracing at 60 FPS in this game. Now, I think this stuff does still sound good, but the fact that we're still going to be getting split modes is a bit strange to me. Now, I'm curious about this because there is a growing list of games that are confirmed to be enhanced by the PlayStation 5 Pro. This is a list of 72 games. There's talks that maybe it's going to be over 80 or 90 by the time this game actually comes out. And you'll see everything from Stellar Blade all the way over to Spider-Man 2, Monster Hunter Wilds, Dwarf Journey, The Callisto Protocol, Alan Wake 2. And I think I'm curious to see how these different games choose to use that extra power. Because some stuff like Resident Evil 4 already looks incredibly good. I would love to have that at an even higher frame rate. I think some of these games have talked about having a 120 FPS mode. And I'll be honest, higher frame rate makes games, especially horror games and action games and fighting games, in my opinion, it makes them look a lot better. So I'm curious to see which games choose to go for this split mode. It would be interesting if some games actually choose to have a performance mode, but instead of being locked to 60 FPS, instead it's boosted up to something like 100 FPS or 90 FPS. That to me definitely sounds more enticing. If the branching paths, the different styles of game modes start to be more dynamic instead of just choosing to have blurry graphics and good frame rate or really crisp visuals and terrible frame rate. Now, the other thing I wanted to show here is they decided to do a little display of the new thing. This is the new performance mode. So this is where you're getting it at 60 FPS, but with a lot better assets. Stuff like this, I believe, is beginning to sort of showcase the power of the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, part of the reason this is just so fascinating is because we still haven't seen that many Pro games. We still haven't seen that many games actually being displayed running on a Pro and how they're going to look different. I still feel like this is the weirdest thing, is that Sony is being surprisingly secretive, or maybe it's that a lot of developers are really trying to get it as polished as possible before the Pro comes out, but it's weird that we're not seeing more about it. But this is from the official Remedy blog, and there's a part of it I noticed a lot of PlayStation fans have been laser focusing on, but it's them talking about the fact that they're trying to make this really be the best usage of that GPU to increase rendering resolutions and make it so image quality is the best it can possibly be. And here's a quote I've seen everybody really dissecting. We did multiple experiments, including upgrading the 60 FPS performance mode output from 1440p to 4K and adding PSSR, Sony's AI-based upscaling method, which positively impacted the crispness and stability under motion. Now, a lot of people are focusing on this, I think, because it's showing the fact that the new dev tools for the PlayStation 5 Pro are actually very good. There was talks initially about how Sony was really pushing this PSSR, meaning that now it's going to be able to create more variable rates. It's going to be able to, on the back end, make a better image quality pretty much automatically using these newer tools. And essentially, I think Alan Wake 2 already looks incredibly good. It's nice to see that those developers are sort of finally coming out and attesting to the fact that this new stuff is actually really good. But I wanted to take a look at this because here's people discussing this over here on the PlayStation 5 Reddit, and it said this. This is something that's going to take time for people to get accustomed to. Internal resolution just isn't going to matter much going forward. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered on the Pro is a good example of that. It runs at the same internal resolution as the performance mode on the PS5, which is 1440p, but the image output is crisper using PSSR, which means more details, in the fidelity mode, which runs at a native 4K. So it just ends up being a waste of system resources to target native 4K when you can get the same or even better at a lower resolution, freeing up resources for other things. So essentially what this is saying that I think is kind of fascinating, now maybe this is just some hype, but it does seem to be legit, is that it seems like these new tools will make it so stuff can run a lot better, even at incredibly high resolutions. Like something people have talked about a lot, a very common complaint with current day games is that so many file sizes are ginormous. Like if you're trying to install a game that has a lot of 4K assets, a lot of times it'll be hundreds and hundreds of gigs, even if the game isn't really that long or that crazy, right? It sucks to actually have a terabyte hard drive filled up by 3 big AAA games. But now, hypothetically, you could have lower asset quality because it's getting boosted by that PSSR to create a sort of AI-generated fake 4K that looks the exact same, but without taking up as much space and without taking up as many computer resources. If you've ever played a game that's really, really cutting edge and your PC is starting to get outdated, you've probably experienced that like layered pop-in where you're playing a game, you walk into an area and there's like NPCs talking and you'll see their clothes still trying to load, the background still trying to load. Everything has these like layers of blur to it as it's trying to populate tons of different pieces of 4K assets. In fact, I think there's that very famous, funny screenshot of Horizon Forbidden West where a person is not loaded at all because it's trying to pop them in at a manual 4K. So hypothetically, according to devs, according to fans and stuff like that, it does seem like this kind of problem, this kind of very sloppy pop-in will perhaps be permanently solved using this PSSR, and they'll have access to better frame rates because now they're not just trying to use a huge chunk of computer power just making the games run. All of this on paper, I think, does sound good, but let's see how it actually works out. To me, this does sound like a negative overall. Like maybe it's just that I'm too much of a layman, that I don't fully grasp the depths of GPU outputs and stuff like that. But the fact that they told us the point of the Pro is that we're going to have a performance mode and a quality mode combined, and now we're still going to be seeing games with a quality mode and a performance mode, it's still a bit odd. Maybe we'll see how it actually turns out. But first impressions, this does seem like a bit of a wet blanket. We'll see, though. I mean, the amount of games that are being upgraded is ridiculous, and I'm curious to see which games that I play the most end up getting the most upgrade to it, because even stuff like Diablo 4 is confirmed to have it. I play hundreds of hours of that. You know what? Give me 200 frames a second Diablo 4, and I'll be happy. But what do you guys think about this? Are you still excited for the PlayStation 5 Pro? And does this seem good, or does this still seem incredibly overpriced? I am probably going to get one, mostly because my girlfriend agreed to buy my current PlayStation 5 for $500. So now, getting the system for $200, it's a lot easier to stomach making a video with it. But thanks so much for watching. If you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.